Hello everybody, it's Erica coming at you with my weekly meal prep. I first want to introduce my Faberware. It's kind of like an Instapot, very similar. I will link it in my description below. I am going to make my chicken masala in this pressure cooker like system, and I will only be using the crock pot setting though. So I will put it on for about 5 hours today. So I am using the Aldi chicken masala sauce. And I'm going to add 3 of my frozen chicken breast inside of this Faberware pressure cooker system. And I will go ahead and take the masala sauce and pour it over the frozen chicken. I'll add some water, shake up the jar, and add that as well. Like I said, this should take about 4 to 5 hours to completely cook, and I will cook some rice and make some of my cumin seasoned chickpeas. I like to use that as the base for my chicken masala. So I'll give you a little peek of what it looks like. Just plain old sauce on some chicken. Close it up, I'm ready to go. Show you how I make my very simple garbanzo beans, chickpeas, or whatever. Add a little cumin to it. And I will throw those into the microwave when I'm completed. That's coming up here in a minute. And again, like I said, I will be making some basmati rice. That I will not be showing because that takes forever. So basically what I am prepared to right now to do is just the garbanzo beans. And I purchased them from Aldi. And I simply just put it in my big Purex measuring cup. Add my cumin, a little olive oil, toss it around, and we're done. And I'll stick that in a microwave, like I said, for about probably 3 to 4 minutes, check on it, and bring it out. I don't want to overcook it because it gets a little gross. And this should give me and my husband a couple dinners this week and lunches. I don't really like the basmati rice with mine. I always use the chickpeas. So coming up next, I'm going to go ahead and make my Fiesta chicken. I'm going to use my small, I think it's a 4-quart crock pot, just simple. Very easy. I will make a Fiesta chicken without any dairy products. This recipe typically calls for a block of cream cheese. If you are going to use the block of cream cheese, I do suggest you put that in about the last hour. This again will also cook for about 4 to 5 hours as well. I will not add, like I said, anything but just the regular ingredients. No cheese, nothing like that. So I will combine my ingredients. But before I add like the main components to this dish, I will put in my seasonings. I like to use this Fiego box jalapeno garlic seasoning. It's got salt in it. I like to add that, about a teaspoon. I will not be adding any more sodium to the dish. That is additional. So this is about it. No extra salt. Of course, there's going to be salt in some of the items that I do use because they do come out of a can. I've only got a few of the items are salt-free. But again, I got that from FiegoBox.com. They're pretty good. They have a lot of spicy things, and I absolutely love them. The next thing is I'm going to add a little onion powder. Just about a teaspoon of this, just to enhance what's already going to go in it. And I will put in just a dash of cumin as well. And I'm going to put in a little bit of cilantro. I think that was cilantro or parsley, one of the two. I can't remember. I know that I have some fresh cilantro, so that's going to be going into the mix in a couple hours at least. So I did put in, I believe, a little bit of parsley. So we're going to start off by doing about a half can of corn, and then I will see if I can actually fit the whole can in towards the end, and I'll do that as well with the black beans. This is one of my favorite dishes, and you can definitely use this as a dip. I use it kind of like a chili. I don't really put any crackers or anything in it, but you most certainly could, and add some tortilla chips if you wanted instead of any crackers. And if you're a cheese lover, go ahead and add some cheese to it too. So I'm going to go ahead and obviously drain my black beans, and then I will go ahead and put those in. And like I said before, I will be adding kind of halvesies on everything until I get to the very last ingredient, and then I'll make a judgment call whether or not to put everything in. I usually don't use this small of a crock pot. I usually make it in my larger crock pot, but I didn't feel like getting it out. I apologize. So, anywho, I also had put my chicken in. I put 2 chicken breasts in the bottom. And I put about a quarter of the jar of the mamitocito. I think that's what you call it, from Aldi. It's their salsa. It's about $1. I love it. It's one of my favorites. So now I do have enough room. I'm going to add everything back in. I'm going to also add a little bit more of the cumin, a little bit more onion powder, and my jalapeno garlic to the recipe as well. I'm going to stir it all up, get it all incorporated, and I will, like I said, add a couple dashes of cilantro here in a couple hours. I get that out of my garden. And I cook it on high for the next 4 to 5 hours, and then I'll kind of pull it a little bit, but not too much. It's kind of a preference thing. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and make is my famous low carb meatloaf. This is quite simple. So I start off with basically the ground beef at the bottom. It's about a pound, maybe just a tad bit over, but usually it's just a pound. And I don't use any seasoning packets, but you most certainly could. It just, your own personal preference. I mean, what I'm adding is just what I'm adding. This is just something that I use. It doesn't necessarily have to be what you use. I also like McCormick seasoning packets for meatloaf. It's absolutely delicious. So, but I also used to use a herb flavored stuffing mix and actually just shove it into the 1 pound of beef, and it was delicious. But anyways, I put in my jalapeno garlic seasoning. I'm going to add some minced onion. I'm going to use about a capful of that. That's about a tablespoon and a half. And I'm going to add about a tablespoon and a half of garlic powder. I don't use garlic salt other than, like I said, I only use the salt that's in the other item, the jalapeno garlic. I'm going to add some parsley. I added about a tablespoon of parsley. And I'm going to add about a half a cup of the chunky salsa as well. I use salsa for a lot of different recipes in this house, let me tell you. More than just eating it with chips. I know I could chop up some fresh ingredients and throw it in there, but we use that stuff for salads. And I chopped up a bunch of stuff yesterday. I'm going to use my sugar-free J.L. Hughes barbecue sauce, which I have to say is delicious. Don't use too much though. It can give most people stomach ache. The Max, these Max, I did take out a lot of the crunchy ones, and it's just basically, this is a leftover bag that I had. This gives it a little bit more barbecue-y flavor. And I like these pork rinds because they are very flavorful. And again, I did take out like the crackling part. I don't like that. So this will do it for that bag, and I'll throw that away when we're done. And I get that at Walmart, by the way. Pretty inexpensive. And then I'm gonna add my EB egg. I love these eggs. If I can't buy them fresh from the farmer's market, which our farmer's market's been closed for the season, I will use some EB. I'm going to grind that all together, incorporate it. I use So I'm just going to make sure everything's put together and it's all pretty and wonderful. I love mixing the meatloaf together because, I don't know, I just love meatloaf. It's so comforting, and it's one of my favorite foods ever. Now, I will probably eat this meatloaf with some little bits of baked potato, maybe a sweet potato. I take that to work with me. Some peas, maybe something starchy, of course. Just a little bit goes a long way, though. And once I'm done making this all pretty and wonderful, I will put it in my Dollar Tree muffin pan. And I'm actually going to try my Pampered Chef little mini muffin pan and make some meatballs one day soon. But anywho, I just kind of make them. Usually a pound does fit inside 6 of these little wells. And don't forget to put under a cookie sheet under this so that, you know, because I'm using 80-20, so there's going to be a bit of grease that's going to come off this. So, word to the wise, use a cookie sheet under this unless you want some smoke coming from your oven. I've done this for quite a few times, so I'm pretty good with kind of eyeing how much they're going to fit in there. And then once I'm done putting them all together, I will put this on 400. It usually cooks up in about an hour. I'll pull them out, throw some more of that barbecue sauce on them, and then stick them back in the oven. You know, like I said, I would turn off the oven, and then they kind of just sit there and make a glaze. That's how I complete them. And actually, this is probably what we're going to eat tonight, is a couple of these guys. So I will show you what the finished product looks like here shortly. Thank you.